Hi, I'm Rachel, welcome to my channel. As a follow-up to my recent vlog on the Capsule collection, this week I thought I would focus on a wardrobe basic, the shell top. Now, most of these patterns are pretty straightforward. They're all for woven fabrics, and they're all would be quite a versatile addition to your wardrobe. They could be quite casual or much more formal depending on the fabrication you chose. So I've focused on 5 patterns, and they're all slightly different either with their detailing or their silhouette. So let's begin. Okay, starting with, and this is in no particular order, the Itch to Stitch Santorini tank. I think this is a beautiful shape. It's a PDF pattern, sizes 0 to 20, but what's interesting about this one is that it has cup sizes A, B, C, D and double D. So in terms of its styling, it's got a simple round neck, it's face, so you've got this really nice clean finish, and then you've got the diagonal body seams back and front, and then you have slightly, it's not that unusual, it's just a little bit different, and because you've got this side button opening. It's a beautiful shape. I think it's really flattering. It's described as semi-fitted and intermediate. I love it here in what looks like, I'd say that looks like a linen, but equally you could make it in a beautiful cotton sateen, or you could make it in a silk creped sheen or a silk satin as well. Also, you could colour block it because you've got 3 panels at the front and 3 panels at the back. You could texture block it. You could have satin back crepe, so you could play with the matte and the shine with the different panels. All sorts of variations you could play with there. So that's the Itch to Stitch, very flattering looking, I think, Santorini tank, intermediate ability. Next we've got from Tessuti the Kate top, which I think is a really useful piece to have in your wardrobe. Paper or PDF, sizes 6 to 16 or 16 to 22, and it's described as an advanced beginner pattern. So it's described as a cropped boxy vest with 2 necklines, side splits, front bust starts, a deep hem, either more like a sort of straight neck or a slightly scooped neck, and the neck and the armholes are both bound, and on the higher necked version you have a centre back opening which looks as if it's faced probably with a little button and a rouleau loop. Although it's very simple, I think probably the only reason they say this is for an advanced beginner is probably because you've got to do this outside binding technique, which I think, you know, it does takes a little bit of practice, but this would be a really good project to tackle if you haven't done outside binding before. And don't forget, you can get binder foots, and you can get binders to actually make self-binding. So if you want to use the same fabric as the main garment, which is going to be better because you're not going to get differential shrinkage, you can make your own binding for a really simple vest top like this. So a good one to tackle if you haven't done outside binding before, but it's a really useful thing to be able to do. Okay, so moving on to the third one, Style Arc. Much more easy silhouette, still quite boxy, not overly long. The Ethel top, PDF or paper, sizes 4 to 30. With Style Arc you can either get a multi-size pattern or you can get a single size pattern, which is great to have those options. It's described as boxy, loose fit, with neck and armhole facings where you've got the stitch detailing to secure them. You've also got a deep hem which reflects the facing detail, and these really nice diagonal seams front and back, a bit like the Santorini tank, but this is kind of a loose, easy fit instead of the semi-fitted version. Lovely. I'm not quite sure what that fabric is. It could be like a tencel, or also like could be a washed silk. Great in a very fluid fabric. Again, you could colour block this, I guess. You could make it in a cotton lawn. Again, you could make it in something much more formal like a silk twill or a silk satin. So again, a very versatile piece. Okay, moving on to the fourth one. This is lovely. Ready to Sew's Jily tank top. It's described as a quick project, so I would say by looking at that, that's quite an easy, straightforward project. I like the clean neck and armholes. It looks like, I think it's an all-in-one neck and armhole facing. You've got front bust darts and then this really nice deep hem panel. But in addition, there's an option to have a tie front detail, as you can see on the infographic here. It's a PDF sizes 4 to 18, and although it's designed for a B cup, if you look on their website, it does talk about how you might be able to alter it if you were a different cup size. So a really nice simple project there, and again a really useful piece in your wardrobe. With that, and I think it is a separate hemband, again you could do colour contrast, you could do contrast of texture, you could have a plain and a print, you could have stripes going either way, so lots of different things you could do there with that pattern. Okay, and last but not least, and I have featured this one before actually, it's the Grainline Studio Hadley top. It's described as a semi-formal top for drapey fluid fabrics, and it's described for advanced beginners because it does have a little bit of additional detailing depending on which option you've chosen. So you can either have the round neck or the V-neck, and there is also the option to have this inverted pleat at the centre back neckline. So they show it here. The round neck version's got long sleeves on the line drawing, and the V-neck version is sleeveless, but obviously you don't necessarily have to have the round neck with the sleeves. You can chop and change, and you could have the round neck with the very simple back instead of the inverted pleat back. Rather, it's difficult to say. So you know, you can sort of chop and change them. So it's 0 to 18, 14 to 32, paper or PDF, and again that is for an advanced beginner. So those are the 5 that I have chosen. So have you made any of these? Do tell us, share below your experience in the comments if you have, or have you got a very similar style that you make on repeat that you found is a really useful, versatile piece in your wardrobe? I chose these 5 because I think all of them would work equally well under a formal blazer or with a pair of jeans. Obviously, depending on your fabrication, they could go from casual day wear to quite formal evening wear, really. Really versatile. So those are my choices, and I was just trying to focus in a bit more on the whole idea of a capsule wardrobe, and I'm going to follow up this video with more, just focusing on individual garments that might, you know, like the trouser, the skirt, the dress, that would fit into your capsule wardrobe, in light of what we were discussing in that original video. So in other news, what have I been doing? I went to Liberty this week to have a look at the Christmas department, and the Christmas windows, and also the display in the atrium, which they opened last week, which is really great. I did film, and I will be bringing a video out on that, but I don't feel, do you know, in London it's really unseasonably warm at the moment, and I just don't feel ready to put out a Christmas video. I was going to do it today, but I thought no, it just doesn't feel right. It feels too soon. But you've got that coming up. The Chanel jacket is going really well. I'm actually nearly there with it. I'm just finishing the sleeves, and when I was in town I had to go and seek out a haberdashery shop to find a really simple trim to go around the front and neck edge and the hem, and that's kind of the last bit. So it will be, the video part 3 will be out there before Christmas, I absolutely promise, and I'm sorry it's taken me so long. Anyway, I have really enjoyed making it actually. It wasn't quite as scary as I thought, funnily enough. I also just wanted to mention, and I haven't mentioned this for quite a few weeks or a couple of months, I did a video with your makes a few months ago, which everybody really loved and got lots of comments, and it was great, and I know a lot of you really enjoyed it, and I really want to do another one in the new year, but I can't do it unless you send me your makes. So this is my email address. It's also in the description below. So in order for me to do this in the new year, I need your makes. So please, 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 please send me your makes. They can be on a dress stand, they can be on a hanger. Even better if you actually model them for us. And if you can, when you send me, if you do send me photographs of your makes, can you tell me the pattern that you've used and maybe a bit about the fabric? It's always really, really interesting to have that information alongside the images. So please, please, please send your pictures of your makes in, and I will do another makes video in the new year. So please like, share and subscribe, and I will be back next week. I'll see you then. Bye.